So, first of all, let me thank you for letting us being part of the project, which to us seems extremely important. I'm talking also in the name of Esther Toledano, who is sitting in the corner. We have built a data panel over the last 3 years, which is over time taking identity of a person or of a family and collecting anything that we know in the National Insurance Institute about this entity over time. And I will tell you a little bit about what we know, what we would like to know, etc. I decided to look at this issue from a matrix. We have NII, that's National Insurance Institute data. National Insurance Institute is the institute, the social security institution, which pays benefits in a very encompassing way. In Israel, we pay maternity, child benefits, unemployment, insurance of injuries at work, etc. So it's a very, very widespread institution. We also collect contributions from for health insurance and, of course, for national insurance. Then we also get data from other authorities and from surveys that which we conduct. We have a special survey unit where we can devise a survey and conduct it. So, and of course we get surveys from the Central Bureau of Statistics, which we buy. I understand now they are going to be free of charge. That's what I heard, the PUF. Anyway, this is the way I would like to talk about, and then we will talk about the population, the occupational status of the entities, the sources, socioeconomic substance of the data, can we control the quality of the data that we present, what is the observation periods, examples. I'll give you a few examples of the use we are already making, and then we can talk about what's missing, and that will be the last part. Okay, first of all, let me tell you that all the NII data and the data from other authorities and the NII surveys that we conduct and keep the results, they are all coded identities, which means that we fully protect privacy. Now, I have a little bit of a different attitude from Dimitri, who talked before me, because I distinguish very carefully between passing over information to someone who asks for information. Let's say the Central Bureau of Statistics asks for information. We have to gather the information in a data set and send it to the other authority. With the CBS, it's special because they have a very tight control of what can be done, so we are not worried about the privacy issue. But sometimes other ministries may ask for data, and this could this could possibly make the privacy protection problematic. So this is one thing. But when we talk about the research department, the research room, which we have also installed at the NII over the last year, and which has become very successful without even publishing it yet, then we do not pass away information. We keep the information coded, so we do not think that this should limit people, and the only limitation we have is the staff, because it's once a person comes in to make research, it takes a lot of endowments. We need to collect data for him, etc., to concentrate it in our computers, and then the research goes on, and questions are coming all along, so we need more staff, and this is one of our bottlenecks. But basically, we do not think that we have to ask the tax authorities if we have coded identities where people cannot know who they are studying. They only know the facts that are needed for the research, and we are very careful about all that. So we do not seek special permission for that. Then we have the surveys of the CBS, basically, which are unknown to us, the identities, and that is the situation. When we talk about NII data, this is very important. We talk about the whole country. As you could already understand, Israel is a highly heterogeneous society with very, sometimes tiny, very poor groups, population groups. When I asked one question today, I asked about the Bedouins in the unrecognized villages and in the recognized cities or in the recognized settlements. This is a very important question because when you look at poverty rates, they are huge. They are at child poverty can be at 80%. You can discuss whether the calculation is completely clean or not, but 80% is a very big difference from 15%. So in any case, we have small and highly heterogeneous communities, also within the Jewish population, within the Arab population, within the Muslim population of the Arab population, etc. So it is very important to have also small area estimation as it is done in other countries, and we are heading towards this kind of analysis when we talk about poverty, for example. Today we didn't hear the word poverty. We heard inequality once and again, over and over. And this is a very big difference because inequality can be something that happens between the middle class and the high class, between the high class and the top class, etc. But poverty is really what can be very expensive for the economy from the point of view of other expenditures, of waste of talent, etc., because children from poor groups cannot reach the academic standards, etc., in many ways. So the fact that we have the total population, I think, is a big advantage for this group, for what we are going to study. Then we have seen that since we have opened this data panel and the research room, ministries have come to us. They have begged us to accept their data in order to make together with them some analysis of the efficiency of government programs. We have, for example, the Economy Ministry. They have brought us all the subsidies, wage subsidies, which they gave since 2003 with identification. We have put it together, coded the identities, and now we can study the efficiency of wage subsidies and of all sorts of programs that have been done in the Haredi society. When I say Haredi society, it means that we have managed to find the Haredi society in the total population. There is a very small survey at the Central Bureau of Statistics which asks subjectively the person, who do you belong to? Do you consider yourself ultra-Orthodox, Orthodox, Mesorati, traditional, etc., or maybe atheist or Chiloni? So we have actually, Esther has built an algorithm where we can define in a quite good way the Haredi, belonging to the Haredi population, which is very important because their labor market behavior is very different, and we'll show you in a moment some of that. Then, when we have these identified subgroups, there may be a lot of information missing, but then we have handy this survey unit where we can select randomly individuals from those groups that we don't have, or from the groups that we have, but we don't have the right questions about them, and we can ask them about what we are missing. So this is something I'll talk about too. Then we have, of course, the CBS, which samples households by themselves, and we don't know what they are doing, I mean, who they are asking. So we still, if we want to use it, we would need some kind of matching exercise, which we haven't done yet, but which could possibly be helpful. Okay, so why do we have data from other authorities? Because the national insurance law requires all sorts of information. For example, in the law it says that if you leave the country for more than a certain number of months, you're not entitled to child benefits. So we have to know whether people have moved out of the country and whether they have returned. So we get the data from the Interior Ministry, from the police, whatever. And once it is in the NII, at the research department, we capture this and we put it into our data panel. And also, as I said before, we have the research and planning collaboration initiatives where we suggest to ministries to collaborate with us, and that is also one important thing. One very important database that we have is the database of the tax authority, which has the average wage of and months worked in a year of every person that has been paying taxes or has been enjoying tax benefits at the tax authority. As I said, Interior Ministry, Border Police, and then we have some information about whether someone was present at one of the universities, colleges, yeshivas, seminars, etc. We know the year they have been there, or the number of years they have been there. We do not know what they have been studying, so you can already see that in the section of education, we have kind of a lack of information, which we'll talk about later. Then we have the labor exchange. The labor exchange asked us to take all the data in order for them to be able to analyze it. We had great help from Noam Zussman, who talked before, in activating this and in getting even the help of the Bank of Israel in order to give back the data in a more sensitive way, sensible way to the labor exchange so that they can do better research, and we are supporting this. So this is just to show that when you collaborate, this is really where you get the big advantages and the big rewards. We received also, again, help from Noam Zussman. I said that he should get the prize of the National Insurance Institute for helping us to make a full database. The Housing Ministry has given us, for once, they are not doing it constantly, but at least at one stage, we received all the help that they give in subsidies for housing and other housing help. The Health Ministry, Economy Ministry, I said before, and I talked already about the surveys, so we can go fast on that. We don't ask for funding. We have enough funds, as I said in the morning, and so we fund everything from the national insurance budget, and nobody has yet told me that I'm exaggerating with that, because we still have money left in the budget, despite the fact that we very generously supported the Central Bureau of Statistics, which, where does it sit, the Central Bureau of Statistics? It sits in the Prime Minister's office, and we at the or all of you who are members of the national insurance because you pay the fees, have subsidized the Prime Minister's office in order for the Central Bureau of Statistics to do better work. So I think it's really not a question of funding, and I think it's funny that we have to fund, and that the Bank of Israel, when they were asked to help in funding, they said, no, we will not fund whatever I'm talking about. It's about, you see, we have the poverty report. Yeah, we have the poverty report. In the poverty report, we want to find out who is poor, how much are they poor, etc. The Central Bureau of Statistics cut very seriously into the income survey and left only the consumer survey, the expenditure survey, which is an extremely important survey, but it's too small, 6,000 families. We paid the Central Bureau of Statistics to raise it to 9,000, which is a 50% increase. We wanted to raise it back to what it was before, 15,000, so that analysis can be done also on small groups, as I said, heterogeneous society. Okay, let me continue a little faster. I'm not going to go through everything, but we have done already some very interesting research that cannot be done otherwise in this detail on pension from work. We have on employment programs, as I told you, wage subsidies, rental support. I hope that together with Noam, we will be moving on to some interesting research. Esther Toledano has done some very interesting research on unemployment coverage, which means, do people who are unemployed pick up the unemployment benefits? And there it was very important that we had all these data and that we had the National Insurance Survey possibility where we could really go into detail with that. I will just show you one example or two about also a research that I'm doing together with Esther, but there are many other researches that we could use here. I show here the composition of the population groups in Jerusalem and elsewhere. So you see we can go into Jerusalem. In Jerusalem we can go into statistical areas, Ezorim Statistim, yeah? Which are very small units, really, that you can research. And you can see here, for example, that Jerusalem has less non-Haredi people and more Arabs and more Haredi than in the rest outside Jerusalem, which is not very surprising. But here you can see something that is interesting. The employment ratio is lower in Jerusalem for each of the population groups. And as I said, we can go into very fine measures. And if we had more data, let's say, on the Meitzav, then we could also analyze by school the children in a more detailed way. Here we have a research that we published first part some time ago, and this is from the new section which we haven't published yet. Employment ratios of Haredi, Arabs, Ethiopians, non-Haredi. We have done the same study also on age groups, which is very fine granuled, and you need really very detailed statistics of the whole country in order to go into such detail. If you want to know what happens to Haredi men at the age of 25 to 35, you cannot do it with regular surveys. You have to have more data. Here we do the same analysis on the income received by the people who are employed. So you can see, for example, it's a bit too small here to see, but I can just tell you here, for example, if you look at Haredi men, so you can see that the group that has increased mostly in Haredi people who are employed is the group that earns less than up to the minimum wage, means below the minimum wage and up to the minimum wage. That means that there is a lot of enforcement to do here, etc. In the lower part of the graphs, you have the actual sums that are average sums of these groups. What's missing? As I said, it's the collaboration with other institutions. I think the first one that we need is to get together with the Central Bureau of Statistics and to put up some database for this project. I think it's the ideal way to deal with it. We don't need much time. We just need to sit together, to have our bosses to force us to do it. And I'm finishing. To force us to do it. And then we have a database. We don't need money. There's not much time involved. It's something that can be done more or less immediately. Thank you very much.